Okay guys, well, pretty genius product here from TSO that I'm going to be installing on, you guessed it, my MFT table. So I'm going to show you what this thing is, how to install it, and why I think it's a really genius idea. We're going to be working inside of my temporary wood shop right now because my wood shop is actually being built in the backyard and it is not complete. So I will take you through that in another video, but for the most part today we're going to be working in this temporary wood shop. You can see I have all my stuff set up behind me because this is where I've been cutting the floors for down here on the first floor. This is the sitting room in my new house, and this is going to be the last room that I touch construction-wise. I'm remodeling the whole home. You guys have seen some of the videos so far, some of the Instagram posts. This room is going to be dead last. Pretty good sized temporary workshop for me to get all my stuff done, cutting moldings and flooring and whatnot. So in the meanwhile, what I'm going to do is bring you over to the other side of the MFT, and I'm going to show you really quick how to set this thing up, and then we're going to use it. All right, so let's get started. All right, so I got you set up here on this side of my MFT. So in case you didn't figure it out yet, this is an extension for basically offcuts on your MFT. That's why I say it's a genius idea, because the MFT falls short right there when you cut something off. If it's a piece that you're setting up a stop block with and you're cutting here and you need it to be what it usually always is, sitting off this end of the table against that stop block. You make that cut and the piece just falls right off. That's why in my shop, in my old house where I had the extra room there, I had my workbench set up to the same height, or what I call them cheater tables. So basically anything that would fall off would just fall right on top of the difference of a 1 millimeter height extension. So basically I didn't have that problem, but now that I do have that problem because I'm set up in a room in a house where I don't have the ability to have my giant work table next to me, I'm going to be using this on my MFT, and it is removable. So it's going to be easy on, easy off. I'll show you how it goes. Okay, so first order of business is you're going to take the extension table and you're going to see where the etch logo is, and it's right here. Then they want you to take that and they want you to flip it over so that that's face down. You can always tell the difference of the top from the bottom because the top has a chamfer on it like the regular MFT and the bottom does not. It's actually cut pretty square. So you're going to locate these 3 holes and have them facing you. Then you're going to take these brackets that come with the kit and you're going to take this flathead machine screw, and that's going to go through here, and you're going to thread it into this bracket, but you're not going to tighten it all the way. You're going to leave it loose, but just get it threaded in just so that it's contacting the piece and it doesn't go flopping around. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to snug it just gently where I can turn it and move it around as I need to. I want it to be loose, because that's what the instructions say, and I'm sure that's going to make the assembly a lot easier as I get down the road further into this, because you know that when you're putting something together, if you tighten everything up right away, by the time you get to the last piece and you need to finagle it to get it to line up, it just never happens. And that's because there's no give in anything to move it side to side. So anytime you're assembling something, leave the parts loose, especially if the instructions tell you to do so. So what I'll do is I'll get it snug, and then I'll back off the screw a little bit so that I have it loose the way they want it. This just takes a couple seconds, and this whole process is actually, at least it appears to be pretty easy. I'm doing this as I go along with you. Just read the instructions over quickly, and we're going to do it all together now. Okay, on to the next step, which is super simple. You take these brackets that they provide, and you're going to butt it up against the brackets that you just installed. You're going to take these Allen head screws, or bolts I should say, and you're going to thread them through the back and into that bracket, and everything is going to be easier because everything is loose, so you can move everything around. So what I'm going to do is thread them in, and I'm going to snug it up, and I'm not going to tighten them. Everything run down by hand. All right, so now the bolts are contacting the bracket and everything is still loose, and then you have this Allen key that they provide that'll tighten that up, but not right now. First, we're going to take the Phillips head screws that they provide, and we're going to run them down into, and not tighten them completely, just snug them right up We're going to put them right in the pre-drilled holes in the side of this bracket here. So the side of this L bracket here has pre-drilled holes. You're going to just tighten them down just gently. Don't tighten them all the way. I'm just going to run them until they're snug, and then I'm going to back them off with a screwdriver. Okay, so I got that tightened down, and since it needs to be left loose, I'm just going to take my Phillips head and I'm going to leave it loose like that. This one can be snugged up a little bit more. And back it off a little bit, and everything is good to go. I'm going to snug this up just a little bit more, just so that it's not flopping around too much. That's better. Okay, and now we can continue putting the remaining pieces on in the same order. You're going to take your provided bracket and your Allen head bolt. Now the last bracket, installed in the same manner, just like this. Same 2 bolts, same 2 screws, and then we'll move on. Okay, I have everything just where I want it, and now we can move on to the next step. For the next step, I'm going to just swing this around so you can see what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do is take a longer threaded bolt with the Allen head, and that's going to come through this center hole right here. But first, we're going to put a spring on it that comes with the kit. I'm going to put the spring on the bolt, and that's going to go through that center hole just like that. So now it's spring loaded. And then I'm going to take this T-style slot nut, and that's going to go on just like this with the T facing the bracket, and then I'm going to thread that in by hand. Now I'm not going to get this thing tight either. I'm going to leave it loose because it's going to have to be pushed into the track on the MFT here for it to work and get it tightened up and adjusted. So I think I got plenty of slack there. Now I'm going to do that with the remaining pieces. Take a spring, a T-nut, and the bolt. Put the spring over the bolt, put it through the center hole, the T-slot facing the bracket, and then gently thread it up until the bolt is flush with the end of the T-nut right there. These instructions for this are super simple. There's not a lot of moving parts. So any basic knowledge you have is just putting a screw through a hole or a nut with a bolt and a washer and a spring and just hand tightening up everything. You can easily do this without any problems whatsoever. Okay, that's it. Ready for the last step. Since I have everything pre-assembled, I'm going to take the top and I'm going to flip it over this way with the brackets towards the MFT. Start it from the end over here, because what I want to do is once I get it hooked on there like that, I want to be able to get my T-slot in, push the piece in just like this. See how it's sliding on there and it's hooked on the MFT? That's what we want, because that's going to allow it to not pull away. And then you're going to just keep doing the same thing as you go, adjusting the T-slot. All right, and the last one is in, and easiest way to move it, lift it just slightly on that angle, and then just line up your edges here with the MFT, just like that. And then you're ready to tighten everything up. And I'm going to start with the bolts from underneath. We're underneath the extension table here, and this is the sequential order I'm going to tighten this up in. I'm going to start with tightening up this center bolt here that has the spring and the T-nut locked in there. And as you tighten this up, just snug each bolt first. Don't tighten them all the way. And then crank down on the middle, crank down on the end here, and crank down on the end there. This way you get an even type of pressure. And take your Allen key again, and we're going to start in the center. And these are still just kind of hand tight, these brackets. So you want to snug those up real good. Hopefully I'm not blocking the camera, which I don't think I am. That's snug. We'll come to the end over here. Tighten that that down. Next, come back up to the top, and you're gonna tighten down, snug up first all the screws from the brackets, and then starting with the middle, tighten that one up. Up to this end, tighten that one up, and then the last one, tighten it up. And don't go overboard with this, because you gotta remember, this is just MDF like your MFT top, and you can strip it out, and also the brackets and blocks and everything are aluminum, and you can strip that out as well. So don't over tighten, just hand snug until you get that little bit of a tweak, and then don't go anymore. You have those last two screws on the bottom, those black screws on the bracket. You go ahead and tighten those up. And that's it. So, super simple instructions. Then you can take your straight edge, go across and see how good it is, and that is pretty dang good. Check it back. Really good. You want to make sure that as you come off of it, you're not catching that lip either, because you don't want to be sliding a piece on there and catch that lip anywhere. And that chamfer really helps with that. Okay. Okay. You say we give this baby a test drive here. All right, so I've already cut that piece off square on that end to square up the piece so that I can measure off there. I need a piece at, wrote it down, 1932 millimeters, or roughly about 76 and like 3/16. This is for a closet shelf that I'm working on. So you can see here I got that extra support now for the cutoff. And I'm gonna make my mark at 1932 millimeters right there. And now what I will do is get this onto my fence and get it close to about where I need it to be. Safety equipment on here. Now, I don't often use melamine, but in a situation like this for a shelving unit, it's actually a good product for that. But what I like to do before I cut it, I don't like to just go full on, and even though I have the splinter guard and everything on here, what I like to do is I like to make a scoring cut backwards and set the dip less than 1/4 of an inch, just enough to score the top of the veneer on there so that we don't get any chip out. I've really not had any problems doing it this way. And since it's kind of like having a scoring blade on a sliding table saw. So let's do that, then we'll go full depth and make the cut, and then you can see I have my support. Normally this piece would just fly right off and fall onto the floor if you don't have an extension table there. So let's see how this works. Now normally doing this, you can see how 75 to 80% of the board is hanging off of where the MFT ends. So that board, had it been out here on the regular MFT, it just fell straight off and damaged it. I can reuse this piece for a smaller shelf in another part of a unit that I'm building. But I would say this thing is definitely worth the money. And if you have just one MFT, then this is definitely a way to go if you didn't want to spend the money and get a second MFT. Okay guys, so that's it from the temporary wood shop, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And I really do think that this product is worth getting. And don't forget that you can check in the description box below. I will have a link provided not only to my affiliate link of the TSO website itself. This in particular, I will have a separate link that you can go specifically to that. If you click on that, it will take you right to that product for you to purchase if you choose to do so. Okay guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned something. Don't forget, we got a lot of renovations left to do on this house, and I'm taking you guys along with. All right guys, make sure you join me next time. Hit that subscribe button, hit the picture of a notification bell that's gonna notify you every time I upload a new video. So we got a lot of videos. This whole year is probably covered for me. 2024 is probably gonna be like everything that you can ever want in the channel is gonna be right here. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that, all right? I'll see you next time, guys. Enjoy the weekend.